Hi guys, it's Dr. Cody Dukes and we are back again with another video. Now, as always, before we get started, I would like to ask you guys to please like this video and subscribe to this channel, as it'll help me to get noticed in the algorithm. I'm uploading about 5 videos a week, every weekday that is, and so if you guys can please subscribe so that you won't miss any of the content that I'm putting out to you guys. So with that being said, we find ourselves once again at another Fit Friday. And so I figured that I'd pick up with something I talked about last Fit Friday, and that was that I pointed out how the number one thing that I did in order to lose 100 pounds was that I did cardio 6 days a week. And I told you guys that I like to run, that I could run for really long periods of time. And if you guys wanted me to, that I could do a video on how you could build up your stamina, you could build up your endurance to the point where you can be conditioned to run for long periods of time. And since we're at another Fit Friday, I figured why not do a video detailing what exactly I did and some steps that you could possibly take in order to get your endurance up, to get your conditioning better, so that you guys can run for really long periods of time, so that you guys can do that 6 days a week, and it'll help you maybe lose some weight, help you get into better cardiovascular condition. It'll help in all sorts of ways. So that'll be what we're talking about here today. So, how to run longer without getting tired. And once again, a disclaimer: this is what worked for me. I am not a fitness professional. This is just the things that I did in order to lose weight. So number one, I put on here to run first. Now, this isn't for people who are necessarily trying to follow my plan for losing over 100 pounds or just losing weight in general. I talked about cardio really as the main form of exercising, but this one is for people who work out consistently, who do all types of training, who lift weights, who do cardio, who do plyometric exercises, who do body weight training, things like that. This is for those. I say run first, and what I mean by that is, if you're going to lift weights, right? If you're going to do other types of training, do the running first. What I found is that after other types of training, a lot of times, because for me, cardio isn't as taxing on my body. Running isn't as taxing on my body, even though it's really a full body workout to run. Running isn't as taxing on my body. Therefore, if I run first, I still have plenty in the tank to be able to go and lift weights. Like when I was losing the 100 pounds, when I got to certain plateaus, when I started to lift weights, I would run for an hour and then turn around and lift weights, between 30 minutes to an hour. So but when I tried to do it in reverse, when I tried to lift weights first and then go run, there may be some muscles that are getting sore. There may be some, I don't want to call it trauma, but your body has been under a bit of stress when you're talking about weights. So I couldn't just jump on the treadmill, or I couldn't just go outside and run, because I could try it, but my body would get tired really fast. And so I say run first. If you're going to do weights, run first. That way you don't kill your run time, because if you run after you lift weights, it'll kill the run time. Second, start with walking. So when I first started doing cardio every day, I literally, all I did was went outside and just walked. I went outside and I just walked. And I walked and I walked. And I walked until I got to step number 3, which was mix walking with running until you can run longer than you walk. So I started to do this thing where it's kind of like interval training. A lot of this is actually kind of like interval training. What I would do is I would run for a period of time, and then when I would get tired, I would walk. And then when I recovered some, I would run for a period of time again. And when I got tired, I would walk. Now, the idea with this is to build up your recovery ability, because recovery, in my opinion, is the key to being able to run long distance without getting tired. or really the need to recover is really what is the key to being able to run long distance without getting tired. So this is where something like a treadmill or a stopwatch, where they really work, they help a lot. They work really well in helping with building up your recovery, is because what you can do is you can set a timer. What I would do is at this point, I'm on a treadmill. I would do the interval type of training where it would do like 2 minutes on an incline and then 3 minutes on a flat, or the opposite. I can't remember which one it was. But what I would do is I would just erase the incline. And what I would do is when the 2 minute interval was up and it was ready to switch, I would up the speed to a running pace. And well, at first I would do the opposite. I would run for the 2 minutes, and then I would down when the 2 minute interval was up, I would walk for 3. And when it was up, I would go back up and run for 2 and then down for 3 until I had built up my recovery so much where I could do the run for 3 and the walk for 2. And as time went on, and as I did this more consistently, I got to the point where I could maybe run for a good bit longer than I was walking. Maybe I could run for 5 minutes and recover for 1. Run for 6, recover for 1. Run for 10, recover for 2. Run for 10, recover for 1. You see what I'm saying? I was constantly getting stronger in my increasing my recoverability to the point where I was decreasing the need to recover, if that makes any sense. Right? And the thing about running is, I don't know if I've said this before, but the thing about running is that your body builds up a tolerance to it. And I don't mean, like I said last week, when I was talking about tolerance, I was saying that I could do it better. But when I'm talking about tolerance this time, I mean your body, it has less effect. So you have to increase intensity to get the same effect, the more you do it. That's the one downside to running, is that if say you lost a bunch of weight running, right? And then something happened, you stopped working out, and maybe you gained weight back. It's going to be harder to lose that same weight running the same intensity you were when you stopped, because your body will be used to it. I actually experienced that at one point in time in my life, back when I was in pharmacy school. But that's another story for another day. But the point is, you need to be mixing walking and running, trying to increase your recovery, increasing the periods which you can run, and decreasing the time that you need to recover. And doing this, you also want to be, because your body gets used to the running, like I said, you want to be extending your time and your distance in order to help combat and offset your body's building up a tolerance. So this is a way that you basically can increase intensity. If you're getting by running longer distances for longer periods of time, what you're doing is you're increasing that recovery. You're decreasing your need for recovery. So maybe I would do the exercise for 15 minutes where I would cycle between walking and running, and I'm building up the time I get to run versus the time I get to walk. But at the same time that I'm doing that, now I'm doing the exercise for longer. Instead of it being 15 minutes, now it's a 20-minute cycling while I'm increasing. Instead of it being 20 minutes, now it's 25 or it's 30. I'm constantly increasing the time, or increasing the distance. Maybe I was just doing 2 miles, now it's 3 miles. You see what I'm saying? And while I'm increasing that time and distance, I'm also trying to decrease how much time I need to recover, or decrease the need to recover until you can eliminate it altogether. And next, this is how I actually eliminated my need for recovery. And it's surprising because when I did it, I didn't know that it was going to have this effect. But what I did was I began to incorporate sprints, or HIIT, high intensity interval training. And what I was doing, what high intensity interval training is, when, depending upon who you ask, but when you go really hard, or as hard as you can go for a period of time, an interval, and then you rest You rest or go a lower intensity for a period of time, an interval. So what I was doing was I would run sprints, or at least a version of sprints on the treadmill. The treadmill can only go to such a high intensity. I think like most of them, the number is like 12.4 is what the actual numbers read. And so I actually had to build up to 12.4. It wasn't 12.4 when I was first working out, but after a while of doing sprints on the treadmill, 12.4 wasn't as hard as I could go. And I've run sprints outside where I did run as hard as I could go. But the whole point of the high intensity interval training is it's going to greatly increase your recoverability. I'm actually not saying recoverability. I'm actually saying recoverability. Two different words. I'm saying your ability to recover. It's going to greatly increase your ability to recover. And so what you're doing is by going all out. Now this is actually a great strategy for actual weight loss. Like HIIT is probably one of the best strategies for burning fat really fast. But what I was using it for was to really increase my endurance, because by going all out for a short period of time, let's say 20 or 30 seconds, right, on a treadmill, where when you get to the point where the highest speed isn't all you can go, maybe you increase it to a minute, whatever it is for you. But by going all out for a short period of time, what you're doing is you're basically completely exhausting your body. Just try it. Go outside and run as hard as you can for 20 seconds. You're going to be breathing, as your heart rate is going to be through the roof. You're going to be breathing, struggling to catch your breath. You're going to be really tired. And limit your time to recover. Give yourself 30 seconds to recover. So run as hard as you can for 20 seconds and give yourself 30 seconds to recover. If you're on a treadmill, maybe do 30 and 30. Do a minute and 30. What I was doing was I would use this, like once I got to 12.4, I think that's the max. Once I got to 12.4, what I started to do is I would increase the duration of the run. Like I said, go up to 1 minute, but I would either keep the rest the same, or I would decrease the rest. Instead of, maybe when I went up to 1, I would make the rest 1. But then to increase the intensity, I went up to 1 and made the rest 30. And now I'm trying to increase the intensity 1 minute and a half and make the rest 30. So you're basically playing with the numbers to try to increase your recovery, or your recoverability, or decrease your need to recover until you can erase the need to stop to recover. Now that's not going to happen with HIIT. As long as you're doing HIIT, you should need to recover. But the idea is to make it where like I said, if you go outside to run for 20 seconds and then rest for 30, make it where by the time the 30 seconds is up, your heart rate has dropped to a rate to where you can go as hard as you can again, and it be similar to what it was the first time you ran it. By the time you get to the 5th sprint, you want it to be just as fast as the first one. Now that's going to be hard to maintain, but I'm just saying that that's like the goal behind it, right? And so once you master HIIT, because what you're not going to realize when you're doing HIIT, because when you're doing HIIT, you're completely exhausting your body and giving your body short periods of time to recover. But you're not going to realize that when you're doing it, you're completely erasing the need to recover. If you do it long enough, build it up to like just doing 30 minutes of HIIT on a treadmill, to where you can get up to like going 2 minutes. Get up to where you can go 2 minutes at that 12.4 speed. And then, now if you can't do that, please don't go straight to 12.4. If you got to start at 9, you got to start at 8. Go to what you can handle. I have to say that first. Go to what you can handle and increase it over time as you get better and stronger in your run, in your sprints. But once I got to 12.4 and it wasn't, maybe I was getting used to it, I would increase the duration. So I got to the point where I would run for 2 minutes and then maybe rest for 1, right? Run for 2 minutes at 12.4. And then when I say rest at 1, I wasn't completely stopping, I was walking. So I was still moving, but I had decreased the need of the rest, where the rest didn't have to be me completely stopping. The rest could be me taking a walk to bring my heart rate down. And so I got to the point where I could do that for like 30 minutes. Right? And by the end of 30 minutes, I was done. But I got to the point where I could do that for a 30-minute training. And I did not know it, And I don't even remember why, but after doing that for a period of time to where I kind of mastered it, I went back to distance running. I went back to running, and the reason I say that the HIIT completely eliminates, it helps to completely eliminate your need to recover with distance running, is because the whole point behind HIIT, I said, was to completely exhaust yourself in a short period of time and then recover in a short period of time. But what HIIT does is, because your body gets used to going to complete exhaustion and then trying to recover really fast to go to complete exhaustion again, when you go back to distance running to where you're running at a much slower pace, it never gets you to complete exhaustion. Or at least it should. If you really mastered the HIIT training, your body, you will not get completely exhausted running at a much slower pace. You will find that it's actually, it doesn't have an exhausting effect on you, that you can run for long periods of time. This is how it worked for me. So I went back to running long distance, and I found that I wasn't getting tired like I was before, because I was not getting to complete exhaustion, because HIIT had taught me that to get to complete exhaustion, I had to run as hard as I could. And I was able to recover it in a really short period of time. And so now, because I'm not getting close to exhaustion by running at a much slower pace, and my recoverability has now increased so much, I'm now getting to the point where I can just run all day and never get to complete exhaustion, and really be in like a constant mode of like where I'm basically running at a recovery pace. Is basically what I'm doing. I mean, I'm literally running at a pace that if I ran hard right now and then I dropped down to run at the pace that I would long distance, I would be able to recover running at that pace without needing to take a break. That's the point I'm trying to make. And so you go back to running, and then the last thing on here, this is not one of the 6 things I want you to do, but this is a great, these are great just things that keep in mind. One is to drink plenty of water. When you're running and your body is heating up, your heart rate is getting up, your kidneys are going to start to want to release water. You're going to want to sweat because your body's trying to cool you down. As long as you drink plenty of water, your kidneys won't start hurting because they don't have water to push out. I'm telling you, there's nothing like getting to 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and your kidneys start saying, yo, we're tired. Like your heart rate is good, your lungs are good, everything is good, you feel great, but your kidneys are like poking you in your side saying, please stop, we hurt. So you want to drink plenty of water, and you want to make sure that, how do I say this? So one thing that I found when I was running, because remember, I was running to lose weight. And what I found early on in my running is that after running for long periods of time, like say like 20 minutes, really between that 10 and 15 minute mark, what would happen is my legs would start to get tired, or they would start to feel weak. And it wasn't necessarily that I hadn't properly fueled or that I had some type of chronic pain or condition. It was just that the weight that my body was carrying, and it was causing trauma to my extremities, to my legs, to my joints, the bones. Even the muscles would get sore because they weren't used to carrying around that type of weight at that type of intensity for that period of time. So what I had to master, what I realized was that as I continued to lose weight, it actually helped, and it made it easier to go for longer periods of time because my body wasn't having to carry around as much weight. Now, that does mean that your body is not doing as much work, which means you're not burning as many calories, which means you're losing less weight. But it makes it easier to go for longer periods of time so that you can compensate for the calories you're not burning because you don't have you're not carrying the same amount of weight. And so it actually balances out. So I just wanted to make the point that it may, at first, you may experience some pain because the trauma that your extremities are experiencing, but as you continue to lose weight, it actually gets a lot easier to go for longer periods of time. And let me just say as my final disclaimer that I am not a fitness professional. This is just what worked for me, guys. This is just what I did in order to lose weight. So guys, This is just what I did in order to run longer, and which led to me losing weight. So guys, that is my video. These are the 6 steps that I took in order to build up my endurance to the point where now I can run for extremely long periods of time and not get tired. In fact, running at this point in my life, running is not the primary source of my cardio, but I still run most days of the week, or a lot of days of the week. I want to say most, but there are a lot of days where I still run to get extra cardio. If I want to burn some extra calories to supplement my workout, I'll still do some running. I'll do some other type of cardio a lot of days, things that still get the cardiovascular system up, but maybe isn't just running for long periods of time. Because one of the few downsides to running, and I tell people this all the time, is that it's just boring. Running for an hour, like, you need music, you need a TV show, you need somebody to call, but you not need to talk, because if you talk, it's hard to control your breathing. It's hard, and so running is not easy, but if you can master it, it is a surefire way to help you burn some calories to lose weight, especially in your early stages of weight loss. And so guys, I will challenge you guys, pick one. I'm not going to even ask you which one you're going to pick. What I'm going to do is say, just pick one. You don't have to pick all 6, but pick one. Start at number 1. Number 1 is run first. Just start at number 1. If you generally like to run after some other workout, start with running first and see if you see some improvements in your ability to run for longer periods of time. And I want you guys to commit. To running a little longer. Guys, if there are any other topics that I may have covered in my 4 keys to weight loss that you want me to cover, in terms of maybe going more in detail about how I did it or how it can be helpful, I want you guys to comment that down below, and I'll do my best to follow along and see what I can do to help you guys in whatever way. Once again, if you have not already, please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. Like I said, I'm trying to at least put out 5 videos a week, just to have consistent content coming out that'll help you guys. Thanks so much for watching. Peace out.